This is the first time to the Jamaica Young Police channel and you haven't subscribed to the channel as yet, please consider subscribing. Like the video. And once you like the video, a pop-up is going to show that it says hype the video. Hype the video. By hyping the video, you're making the video reach others on the YouTube platform. And those of you who have been here with at the Jamaica Young Police channel for years, and you're subscribed and you're not receiving a notification, please unsubscribe and subscribe again. Remember to share the video, because you know that the channel has been an attack by the PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization and their surrogates at YouTube. You have seen it for yourself, where they have even distorted my voice, trying to turn me into American. And I'm not. When I say American, I'm talking, speaking like an American. I'm not an American. I'm a Jamaican by birth, and I'm proud of my Jamaican accent, not changing it for anything in the world. Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. To our loyal viewers, subscribers and Patreon member. At the channel, we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizen, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because they save lives. This is a logical conclusion because preemptive strikes save lives and prevent the further loss of lives. We are all about saving lives at this channel. We at the channel aid criminals with a passion and do not want them over here. We do not want your views, your subscriptions, your likes or your comments. Please go elsewhere where the red carpet is waiting for you. Over here, we want you to go to prison or the departure lounge at Madden. Moving on to today's video. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about this man. The man, Desmond Valentine, aka Ninjaman. There's a playlist on the Jamaica Young Police channel, Ninjaman, from when I was going to school. And before I even go any further, Ninjaman is the first Jamaican artist to sue me. Yes, and sue me at this channel. And the video is right. The video is there. His lawyer had written me, and you can go and watch it yourself. And he lost. Yes, Ninjaman and his lawyer lost. With their lawsuit. There's a playlist on the Jamaica Young Police channel, Ninjaman playlist, and there's a man who used to attend school with Ninjaman. Ninjaman was a big coward when he was going to school. They used to beat him up. That's why when I see you talking about his front teeth, gold teeth, Dan Gargan, that is what people who have been bullied and then they became the bully. When Ninjaman was going to school, he used to spend most of his time in the toilet. This, and it's not like flush toilet. You're gonna hear that if you go and watch it. And his sister is the one who used to fight for him because they used to beat him up. He was a punching bag, just like with Vybz Kartel. If you go and listen, the Vybz Kartel playlist. Vybz Kartel, they used to beat him, Wimpy and all those youths in Waterford. They used to beat him and kick him up and all of these things. Then he became one of the most evilest man from Waterford. So Ninjaman has his appeal going on in the appeal court in Jamaica. That there are people there, hoping so that Ninjaman would be free. But I, Chris Porter, a former detective, I know Ninjaman, know him personally. We are not friends. I never like him because his mouth is filthy, and the things that emits from his mouth is indecent. Nothing to do with law and order, but everything that is abnormal behavior, antisocial. Ninjaman, I have never even as much as take a glass of water from him. So I wasn't one of the police where Ninjaman can't say and give anything because I never liked him. I don't know if he had known it, but although he talk and try to but I just couldn't like him because I know that the things he was saying were destructive. Even back in the days with him and Shabba Ranks was my DJ, and he was more popular among the people. He's the one that started the murder music in Jamaica to amplify it, and that's how he got rich. And as they say, the fool and his money shall depart. Please, before moving on with this video, just tell me where you're watching this video from. I know there are Jamaicans in Jamaica and the diaspora who believe that Desmond Ninjaman Valentine and his co-accused should be released. I, Chris Porter, a former detective, respectfully disagree. In my opinion, when a jury has convicted defendants of murder after hearing the evidence, and when those convictions have been upheld, unless overturned through the proper legal process, the starting point should be respected for the rule of law. My heart is with the victim and the victim's family, not Desmond Ninjaman Valentine. I believe that he should die in prison, he along with his co-accused, because they have taken a life. They had violated the rights of Ricardo Johnson. And Ricardo Johnson's family should have sued him because he has a lawyer out there who manages his money. Ricardo Johnson lost his life. Nothing the Court of Appeal does can change that reality. Every murder leaves behind grieving parents, children, brothers, sisters, friends, and an entire community that must live with the consequences. We as Jamaica has been nurtured, cultured, socialized, domesticated to be sympathetic to the murderer and not to the victims. And that's why the Jamaica Young Police channel exists. And that's the reason why the Jamaica Young Police channel has been under attack for the past 2.5 years by people within YouTube. What do they say? Lies have expiry date. Even wickedness have expiry date. Some people focus only on the rights of the convicted, like Ninjaman. They don't care about the victim. I believe we must also remember the rights of victims and the public to expect accountability when a conviction has been lawfully obtained. Historically, Jamaica's laws were different. At one time, murder could result in death, in the death penalty. Today's parliament and the courts operate under the current constitution and laws, and the Court of Appeal must apply those laws, not public opinion, not emotions. The PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization has changed the laws, changed murder, and break it down, and where murderers get parole. But sometimes some of these convicts are better off in prison, because Danville Palmer was on parole for murder, migrated to England, and he was set up by Tamil Sparta and they killed him in flankers. I would say adios. My position is straightforward. If the Court of Appeal concludes that the trial was fair, that the jury was properly directed, and that the evidence was legally sufficient, then I believe these convictions should stand and the sentences should remain in place. If, however, the court identifies a genuine legal error that affects the fairness of the trial, then the court has a constitutional duty to apply the law, whether we agree with the outcome or not. That is not how the rule of law works. As a Jamaican and a former member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and as the orator of the Jamaica Young Police channel sitting right here, I know for a fact that our judiciary is corrupt. Our judges are corrupt in Jamaica. they collect their bribes by way of getting it in brown paper bags. You have heard it. One of our social media personnel from the United States of America, it's on the Jamaica Young, told us she was arrested and charged with illegal possession of firearm in Jamaica, and her lawyer told her that she has to fork up some money for him to give the judge, to prevent the judge, a woman judge, not to send her to prison. And guess what? There was no police investigation, nothing. That's the accused telling the world, and nothing happened. So I tell you, Jamaica is a criminal's paradise. We have seen Vybz Kartel walk through the same court of appeal. I have spoken to a man who was a part of Vybz Kartel inner circle. He's one of them who escorted money from the United States of America to Jamaica, 500,000 US, and Vybz Kartel walk for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. Then my father's son walk for murder too. So once you have the right link, you have the right amount of money, you can walk. Justice is for sale in Jamaica. Corruption is rife. I hope the judges examine every argument carefully, independently, and accordingly to the evidence and the law. Justice must be fair to the accused, but it must also recognize the rights of the victims and maintain public confidence in the justice system. That is my opinion. Justice should never depend on fame, popularity, or influence. It should depend on the law, the evidence, and the facts presented in court. As I said before and I say again, our justice system in Jamaica is corrupt. The judiciary, law enforcement, and I can go on and on. I am from the belly of the beast. So once again, being asked to revisit one of Jamaica's most high-profile murder convictions, the defense says Desmond Ninjaman Ballantyne should never be tried. Can you believe that? No accountability for murder. You kill someone, murder them, you should not be tried for it. That is what Ninjaman's lawyers are saying. They argue there were delays, constitutional breaches, and problems with the witness identification. But there is another side to this story that must never be forgotten. There's a victim. There's a family that buried a loved one. There's a community that had to live with the consequences of violence. Ninjaman is the professed gold teeth, Dan Gargan, gun pan teeth, kill people, bust skull, inform of the dead. And he has professed that to violate other people's rights. Now, you want the same system that he has been giving the middle finger for decades to let him out. And we at the Jamaica Young Police and said, no, Ninjaman for dead in a prison. And we say that without any apologies. Ninjaman, not only that, he has been given so many chances of killing other Jamaicans, using brown paper bag, pay off witnesses, police officers, and the likes. Ninjaman should spend his natural life behind bars. Ninjaman not supposed to sit outside of a prison wall. The justice system exists for two reasons: to protect the constitutional rights of every accused person and to deliver justice to victims based on the evidence presented in court. Today, I will examine the defense argument fairly, but I will also explain why, in my opinion, the convictions should remain in place unless the court finds a genuine legal error that undermines the fairness of the trial. You know, justice must never be based on popularity or emotion. It must be based on evidence, law, and due process. So let's examine this appeal carefully. Remember, Ninjaman is someone who has no regards or respect for the rule of law or the rights of others. This is someone who boasts him of a house, a gun, and boasts how many people he has killed, in which he has. There are so many people that this man has killed publicly that we have known of in Jamaica, but because of this inform of a dead culture, people pay off witnesses, intimidate witnesses, and the likes. Ninjaman for years have been given the justice system the middle finger. Justice must protect the innocent and respect the law. One of the most watched closely criminal appeals in Jamaica since Mavada's son. The defense has argued before the Court of Appeal that Desmond Ninjaman Ballantyne should never have been tried because of delays, alleged constitutional violations, concerns about identification, evidence, and other legal issues. Those arguments deserve to be heard. That is how the justice system works. Every convicted person has the right to appeal. Every accused person has constitutional rights. Every lawyer has a duty to represent his or her client fearlessly. That is not weakness of democracy. That is one of the greatest strengths. But there's another side to this discussion. The victim. The victim, the person that Ninjaman and his son killed. Never forget the victim. Sometimes appeals becomes so focused on legal arguments that society forgets the person who lost everything. A human being is dead. A family lost a son. Relatives lost someone they loved. Friends lost someone they knew. No appeal can erase that reality. Every murder creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond the individual who died. Children grow up without parents. Parents bury children. Communities lose their sense of safety. Witnesses become fearful. Entire neighborhoods are traumatized. That is why murder is regarded as one of the most gravest offenses in every civilized society. Why accountability matters? Accountability is not about revenge. No, accountability is not revenge. Accountability is the foundation of the rule of law. Without accountability, laws becomes meaningless. And this is what the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization want to do in Jamaica. To make accountability laws become meaningless. Jamaica is the only place where people get 10 years for robbery and murder. Imagine a country where conviction could simply disappear because they became unpopular. Imagine a country where victims believe there was no justice. Public confidence in the courts would collapse. That is why criminal convictions matters. Not because society hates the convicted person, but because society has an obligation to protect innocent people. The rule of law protects everyone. One of the principles I have always defended is this: the law must apply equally, whether you're rich or poor, black, white, yellow, Chinese, Indian, whether you are famous or unknown, whether you are a politician, a policeman, a businessman, or an entertainer. The same law should apply. Justice cannot have two standards, but in Jamaica we know that if you have money, you can buy your way out. We have seen it. Vibes Cartel, Mavada's son, and we can go on and on. Why appeal exist? Some people ask, if someone has already been convicted, why should they get another chance? because the justice system recognizes that the courts are run by human beings. Human beings make mistakes. Appeals exist to correct legal errors, not to retry every case simply because someone disagrees with the verdict. The Court of Appeal is not there to decide popularity. Its duty is to determine whether legal errors occur that affected the fairness or safety of the conviction. That is an important distinction. The delay alone does not decide an appeal. The defense argues that the lengthy delay before trial causes prejudice. That is a serious legal issue. If witnesses die before the trial and their evidence would have materially assisted the defense, the court must carefully examine that argument. But delay by itself does not automatically invalidate a conviction. The appellate court will ask questions such as, was the trial still fundamentally fair? Did the delay actually prejudice the defense? Was the evidence against the accused still legally sufficient? Did the judge properly instruct the jury? These are legal questions, not emotional ones. Identification evidence. The defense has also challenged the identification evidence. Identification evidence has long been recognized as an area where mistakes can occur. That is why judges give careful warnings to juries about how to evaluate it. The Court of Appeal will examine whether those warnings were legally adequate. Again, that is not the same as saying the witnesses were dishonest. We know that Jamaicans and all, we as a people, and we say we, I'm talking because if you cannot identify something that is rotten in your culture and point it out, all of us, we were cultured, nurtured to be criminal-minded people, to ignore our conscience. But some of us, over time, know the difference between wrong and right and choose to do the right thing. And for choosing the right thing can cost you your life in Jamaica. It means the court is performing its duty to ensure that the conviction rests on reliable legal foundations. The trial judge's role. A trial judge has enormous responsibility. It's not decide guilt. The jury does. But the judge must explain the law clearly. If the judge misdirect the jury on an important point of law, an appellate court may intervene. That protects everyone. Victims, it protects victims, accused persons, the public. My opinion. Now let me make something very clear. Everything I have discussed so far concerning the legal principles the Court of Appeal must apply, my opinion is different. Based on the conviction returned by the jury, and unless the court concludes that there was legal error serious enough to undermine the fairness of the proceedings, I believe the conviction should remain in place, and Ninjaman and his son and the other accused to die in prison, spending their natural life, no parole. They must die in prison because they are taking their life. That is my opinion. The court, not commentators, will decide the appeal. While public confidence matters, every time a murder case reaches the appellate courts, the public watches closely. People want reassurance that justice is both fair and effective. Victims deserve confidence that convictions reached through a fair process will not be overturned without sound legal reasons. At the same time, every accused person deserves confidence that any genuine miscarriage of justice will be corrected. Those two principles are not enemies. They are partners. The human cost of violence. Violence destroys families. It destroys communities. It discourages investment. It drives talented young people away. It leaves emotional scars that can last generations. When we discuss murder cases, we should remember that behind every court file is a human story. That's the reason why I don't support people that kill other people unless it's justifiable homicide. Respecting the court's decision, whatever the outcome of this appeal, it should be respected because it will come after careful legal analysis by the Court of Appeal. But I can tell you that I have zero faith in our judiciary, especially Court of Appeal. Brown paper bag with money. Judges them corrupt on the take. We have heard it. A foreigner exposed it to us. I knew that before the foreigner said it. I said it on this channel. That the judges were receiving money in brown paper bag. And it started from the Chief Justice, allegedly Brian Legosykes. And you heard a judge. It's on the channel. Marva McDonald that address yours truly collecting paper bag with US currency and release Vibes Cartel. Whatever the outcome of this appeal, it should be respected. But as for me, if he's acquitted by the court, I know that brown paper bag involved because Jamaica is a criminal's paradise. If the court identifies serious legal errors that requires different result under the law, then the legal system provides mechanism to address that. That is how constitutional democracy works. As citizens, we should demand two things from our justice system. First, fairness. Second, accountability. Neither should be sacrificed for the other. Justice is strongest when convictions are obtained through a fair process and upheld because they are supported by the law and the evidence. This is what gives the public confidence in the courts. That is what protects victims, and that is what protects every citizen's constitutional rights. I do believe that Ninjaman should die in prison. Ninjaman never to see outside of the prison wall. He and his son, they had carefully planned, concocted, and killed this man because they believe that no one's supposed to say things to them that hurt their feelings. And for that, you said something that hurt their feelings, you must be killed. Your life has no value, but theirs has. If you have written of this presentation, please just type in the description window below substance over popularity. Yes, type substance over popularity, or just type that Ninjaman must die in prison. Have yourself a beautiful day. Jamaica Young Police Channel out.